In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast,
an outsider to our industry joins us literally to give his honest and commercial view.
In the news, Motorhome Dreams are launching their third competition, and the Southwest Motorhome and Camper Van Show is just around the corner.
And we answer your questions on Chausson models, adding modifications and fog lights.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and camper vans. And it's brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Now remember, we always say this, but please do follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and the little bell.
In the news, it's Motorhome Dreams' third competition, and it's live. Can you just explain to people who've never heard about this before what it is?
Yeah, it's an amazing competition called Motorhome Dreams, where you could win a quality motorhome, a real one, as we've joked before. It's not made of Lego. It's an actual motorhome with a typical value of around £50,000 plus. And you could win it by entering just £2.50 per ticket. I think you can buy as many tickets as you like. The lady that won the first time, do you remember this? She bought 2 tickets, £5, and won a beautiful Chausson titanium motorhome. Family of 4 can go away in it. And she was over the moon, so she's now enjoying motorhome holidays with her twins. So you can find out more and enter for just £2.50. Go to mhmp.info/motorhome dreams.
That's mhmp.info/motorhome dreams. And if you win, tell us.
Please do. Have you entered yet?
I have, yes.
You did?
Yeah, I invest £10 every month.
Good boy. I'm not allowed to enter.
It's our product of the week, Matt. What is it?
This week, it's the Scorpion Track Quantum 3, a brand new tracker from the guys at Scorpion Track. This is a Thatcham S7 unit.
And what does that mean?
So Thatcham are the organisation that set the standards for trackers and immobilisers.
That insurers approve of.
That's the key thing. Yeah. Insurance companies refer to Thatcham for the quality of units that they've recognised and have graded. And the Scorpion Track Quantum 3 is an S7 unit, often required by your insurance company before they'll even insure you. And they are a standalone unit with a 3-year battery life, and it gives you 24/7 theft monitoring and, above all, peace of mind.
And all that for £249.99. So using the app, you can arm and disarm it manually. You can set safe zones. Can you explain what they are?
Yeah, so you can set little areas. So say you're at home and your vehicle moves on the drive. You don't necessarily want an alert for that because you know it's happening. But if it goes through a perimeter fence, a virtual geofence it's called, then you get an alert. So say you park up on a campsite. If the vehicle drives out the campsite, you get an alert. Whereas if it's driving around within the campsite, it's not going to alert.
I got you. So those safe zones, little islands of safety.
They're trusted areas, yeah. So it's ideal for home or for a storage yard, or as I say, for when you're away camping.
So then the alert won't go off. Yeah. So it's professionally fitted. It's discreet. In other words, robbers can't see it.
Yeah, it's hidden on the vehicle, yeah.
And insurers approve it because it's Thatcham S7 approved, which could shave a few quid off the insurers. It costs £119 a year for monitoring. That's on top of the fitting of £249.99. When I say monitoring, it means that if it goes outside the safe zone, they'll send you an alert to say, hey, are you in the motorhome or is somebody else who shouldn't be?
That's right. Yeah, that is the monitoring service, and you can set all that up in the app. And loads have sold since its launch in April, and sales are growing fast. So don't miss out. You can find out all about Scorpion, who are Motorhome Matt approved. Head to mhmp.info/Scorpion Track, where you can find out more about them and this product and a 10% discount. Use the code MotorhomeMatt when you buy it and get 10% off your purchase price.
I'm with Michael from Warner Shows, and we're just taking a minute out from the Advice Centre here at the Western Motorhome and Camper Van Show in the beautiful foot of the Malvern Hills. What a stunning location. It's a lovely showground. But Michael, we want to talk about the Southwest Motorhome and Camper Van Show coming up at Shepton Mallet. First off, just tell us, when is it?
5th to the 7th of September.
Okay, now this is always called the Shepton Mallet Show. It has for me. It's my local show, my lover. It's right on our home turf, and another beautiful part of the country with Glastonbury and Wells nearby. You've got a new feature at this show, which is free coach trips to see the local area.
Yeah, so we've got one on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and at Glastonbury Street, Wells and Bath.
And seats
and
are very...
Cheddar Gorge as well.
And Cheddar Gorge.
Yeah.
Well, you can see where the cheese comes from. But seats are really limited, so do people need to pre-book for that?
They do, yeah. There's about 20 seats left for each coach at the moment.
Wow, okay, so it's going to be popular.
Yeah.
And there's not many coaches going to these places. So if you haven't explored the area, then do so, courtesy of Warner's, or take a trip out and extend your weekend away. So what's happening at the show? We've got the usual trade exhibition.
Yep.
How many traders have we got at the show?
So there'll be about 30 dealers.
Right.
And about 150 exhibitors.
Wow, so that's probably going to give us around how many motorhomes? 300 motorhomes to look at?
Around that, yeah.
And there's always massive offers, aren't there, on the screen prices? I mean, I've been amazed. I've seen 25, 30 grand off at the shows. And of course, we're coming to the end of the season. So we're going to see 2024 end of season and new season 2025. So there's sure to be some great bargains on used as well. And the Advice Centre is always a big feature at the show, in the lovely cinema at the showground. What's happening there this year?
So we've got 18 free talks across the weekend on various topics. Got yourself, Highlands to Hammocks, Wandering Bird. We've got a few new faces. We've got Van Life with Lucy talking about motorhome into Greece.
Wow, okay.
And we've got Tom and Amy from Be Frank, which you saw at Camp Van Camp.
They are lovely and amazing. Really inspiring talk on well-being, eating well, eating healthily, and just taking a moment to care for yourself.
Yeah, the big thing is dementia prevention. They always say only 1% of dementia is caused by genes, so the rest can be helped and fixed, and that's their whole mission.
Okay, and we've got Mark there as well from Van Life Eats.
Yeah, doing both cooking demos and workshops. They book up fast, so if you need to pre-book them early.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. And of course, like all the Warner shows, the entertainment is a huge highlight. 4 nights of entertainment included in your price. There is a little charge, isn't there, for the Saturday night?
Yep.
And just tell us who the Saturday night is.
Katrina, formerly of the Waves.
So this is Katrina from Walking on Sunshine fame.
Yep.
I can't wait. This is going to be a hit. And how much is it to see her?
It's just £20 per adult.
£20 per adult. That is all to see Katrina from Katrina and the Waves. But there's also entertainment on the Thursday night, the 4th, isn't there? So people can arrive within their ticket price on the 4th and stay for 4 nights. So 4th to the 7th of September, how much is a weekend camping pass?
£85 plus a small booking fee.
Brilliant, absolute bargain, such great value. But you can come for the day on the Friday, Saturday or Sunday. Ticket price?
It's £7.50, but you have a discount, don't you?
We have a discount code, Motorhome Matt will save you 20% on that price, which is £6 to come for the day. You don't get to see the entertainment in the evening, do you, on a day visitor pass, which some people do get confused about. So it's just the daytime pass, but there is so much to see and do included in that tiny little fee. So do come along. We'll see you on the 5th to the 7th of September at Shepton Mallet. See you there.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
Brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe. Now, the main part of this week's podcast is that we've got a special guest. What you know then, Matt, who has got an outsider's view about motorhoming and the business aspect of it.
Yeah, we are opening a new shop, as you know, in Wellington, just south of Taunton. And that's opening today, is our official takeover with an open weekend at the end of September. But a part of this, a month ago, is I wanted to really up the ante with our operation of the shop business. And we want to grow and scale it. So an old friend of mine, Martin Ibson, has worked at Next for 31 years. He was their commercial manager. And Martin and I have been talking for a little while about him potentially joining our team. And he has. He has literally joined us now. He's been in post for a month. And he brings to us 31 years of commercial retail experience. Now, we all know the clothing brand Next, don't we? We've shop in there for years.
Yeah, and they really did innovate in that sector, didn't they? I mean, think of the Next sales, which are still major retailing events around the country.
Well, people would queue up, wouldn't they? Was it Boxing Day or the day after Boxing Day?
They'd queue all night.
Yeah, for hours. It was amazing. And they created a real buzz, and they still do. And they have been innovating for years online as well. And they were one of the big brands that during the pandemic, when we couldn't go out and shop, did really, really well online. And Martin was a big part of that success and looked after the next stores, which are huge in and around Bristol, was part of their buying team as well. So when Martin joined us, the first thing I wanted him to do was really take a helicopter view, as I call it, of our business here, particularly that leisure shop, and tell me what we're doing well, what we're not doing very well, and what as an industry we need to be doing better. And so I wanted to pick his brains to really get into his view of our industry and our marketplace and find out what he thought we are doing great and we could be doing better at. Martin, thank you for joining me here on the podcast. Great to have you here, literally with us.
Exactly, I'm here and ready to go.
So Martin, after 31 years, more than that, in mainstream retail, what made you swap high street fashion for motorhomes and camping gear?
That is a question to answer. 32 years in next. To move on, it's time to me to move on.
That's a long time.
It is a lot. It's most people's lifetime that I've done within that business. And I needed to move on. I need new challenges.
Yeah.
But also as well to me to move out of that business, I needed a company to move into with the right fit for me.
Yes.
So it's things like are they dynamic? Are they forward thinking? Are they on the curve of a business growth? All those kind of areas, because I can't leave a business for something that I don't believe in. And that leisure shop has ticked all those boxes.
Fantastic. Well, you're a very passionate guy, and we are delighted to have you. You know we mean that.
Yeah.
But you've been in our industry for a month. Now, you have been, it's worth saying as well, you've been kind of pursuing the pastime in many ways,
yes.
For years personally. But you've joined us professionally for just a month. What early impressions so far do you have?
The business is something that I can see that will grow. There's certain parts of the business that we need to develop. We need to move forward. However, the customer experience for me is a major thing that we can look at, improve, develop.
Yeah.
I've gone to quite a lot of dealerships out there. I've actually done mystery shops.
Yes.
To go and have a look at what I'm stepping into, because I need to know the benchmark of where we're at.
We love a mystery shop here.
You've got to do them.
Yeah.
You've got to do them on yourself. I've actually had people come into here, you might know this, but they come in here as a mystery shopper as well, because I want to see when I'm not here, what are they doing exactly, with feedback later.
Okay.
But I've gone into, and there is a definite varied responses I've had in various retailers out there, as in the leisure industry. You get some that are trying to make things different, but you're also getting on the flip side ones that they're not doing anything at all.
They're not innovating at all. I always say, if you don't innovate, you evaporate. I firmly believe this, and I believe that we are constantly trying to do it, but this is where you hold me and the team to account. Because if you'll see that if we're not innovating, you'll call us out, won't you?
Yeah. This morning I've already moved stuff around in the shop.
Yeah.
Tried to innovate, try to do things differently as opposed to doing things always the same way.
Well, I noticed when I arrived, we've got double sofas outside the shop displayed for sale in a pile, stacked up on display beautifully.
Yeah, we could not say stacked up, but yeah, we've displayed them in a different way. That's
You know what I mean.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, every time that customer comes into our stores, they see something different.
Right, okay.
They want to see, it might be the same product, but I've displayed it in a different way, so it catches your eye.
Yeah, love that. That's all about merchandising, isn't it? Now, we are often described as a cottage industry, where we're kind of quite a niche industry, and it's very much a close-knit group of people. People come into it like you, and often people leave and then they come back. But nonetheless, what has really impressed you so far? Because sometimes we're seen as a bit lackluster. There's a lot of complacency in our industry, I'm sorry to say. But what has impressed you about us?
Definitely going into them, the ones that are doing it well, their service is on point.
Yeah.
They're trying to merchandise their products in a different way. They're trying to innovate. And I can definitely feel you step into a family when you said about that cottage industry.
Yeah.
I definitely see that, whereas I'm used to very hard-nosed, cutthroat business.
Yeah, it's very corporate.
Correct. In the fashion industry, it is that way.
Yeah.
You have to be ahead of the game.
So was there anything that completely surprised you when you came here to our little business? I mean, we're still in infancy and really in startup as that leisure shop because we're only a few years in. But was there anything that surprised you?
It surprised me in the right way is that you're trying to be that bigger business than what you are.
Okay.
Whereas
Good.
I would have thought it would a smaller business. This is where we're at kind of maybe 0.1 or 2, but you're already up on the 4, 5, 6s in the scale out of 10 of trying to develop your brand.
So still a long way to go.
Yep, but that's with any business. Even when you think you've got there, there's still going to be more that you can do because the market will change, the business will change, the dealers will change, the weather will change. So that's what surprised me, but it was in a good way. That you are already moving yourself up that scale and scaling up.
That's good. I'm keen we're looking further into the future when we're planning campaigns as well. So we're talking about Christmas in the summer rather than in November because we're so in the weeds in this business. We're massively stretched. We're too small a team for what we're trying to do. So having that foresight is really key. And of course, we've been talking a lot about doing the shows that are almost every other week, and we're constantly trying to reorder stock and so on. So we're trying to get a bit more established. And you refer to Next as very corporate, where I can imagine things are very established. But how do you perceive our motorhome leisure market? How does it compare to that Next corporate model?
It's something that I think you can develop into. When you say the cottage, I definitely agree with that. We have to get things organised and planned, which you touched on earlier. So if I was putting our Christmas sale on, remember our Christmas sale, massive queues.
Oh, Boxing Day queues, yeah. Keith and I were talking about it.
Exactly. That is a military operation. I would have an excess of 250 staff. On Christmas Eve, we would shut at 3 and we'll all get out at 6:30, and that's a complete store of maybe 80,000 square feet we will change.
Right.
So that goes hand in hand with the shows. Christmas, I'm already trying to think now about Christmas, so about ordering, what we're going to do, how we're going to display it, what promotions we're going to do, because by November, it's too late. By November, it's too late. We've gone.
Of course it is, yeah.
We need to go now because we want to be ahead with ordering our stuff through the suppliers. We want to be first dibs on everything, whereas if you snooze, you lose. That's another saying that we use.
That's true.
And we're really trying to here is develop it, organise it like a corporate business.
So is it possible then to build that structure in and that forward planning and that kind of corporate back office, which you're going to bring to the party, which I am a huge supporter of, but still retain that sense that we're a cottage industry, that we are a family business, we're very welcoming, and when people come into that leisure shop or indeed a competitive shop, you've got that corporate back end. Is it possible to still have that sense of belonging? Let's call it that.
100%, because you can say if you see a swan going across the lake, his little legs are paddling, but at the moment, the leisure industry, he ain't got no legs. Or he's only got one leg and he's going round and round and round. Whereas I want to bring the swan with 2 big legs. So underneath the front part of it, which is customer facing, doesn't have to change. But think where you are at the moment, customer facing, where you haven't got the stock, you haven't got the right idea of what's going on within that shop, or you haven't got the right parts, and all that will affect your customer facing experience.
Of course.
Whereas the corporate side will always back up the front facing part of your business. Always.
And have you identified in the industry any shortcomings compared to the corporate retail world?
Yeah.
What are they?
It's acceptable. So I rang a couple of dealers and asked them, could I order a part? They said, yeah, without hesitation. That's either going to be 6 weeks up to 6 months for a part.
Right.
Well, in my old industry, it was either free next day delivery or within 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days still isn't acceptable. It should be next day. So why is the industry allowing people to have 6 weeks or 6 months? Well, that's your summer over with. So if you've broken something at the start of the summer,
it's very true.
By the end of the summer, you're packing it away and you still haven't gone on holiday because your parts haven't come. That's you can't run a business that way.
No, you can't. And that's a massive issue in our industry with supply chain. How we fix that is not a quick fix.
No.
I think a lot of that is about us holding stock that we know is hard to get hold of. and there are probably core items that we should identify that leisure shop can keep in stock. We do this, particularly with brands like Adria. We keep stock of parts here because to bring them into the UK, have to come from Slovenia. So, and from the factory, and often they don't have it in stock, so they go to their supplier. So we keep them here, and then someone breaks a rear tail light, and they can't use their motorhome. As you say, they lose their summer if they've got to wait months for it to come. If we've got 1 or 2 days delivery.
But it was how the dealers said, yeah, that's fine, it's going to be 6 weeks or 6 months. That to me doesn't compute.
So what you're saying is that they treated that as the norm and that was acceptable?
That was the norm. It just tripped off their tongue. Well, that's not acceptable. Like, if I can't get something, I should be able to get it next day or within 3 days or a week.
Yeah.
6 weeks or 6 months. That's not acceptable.
And if you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing, is that what it would be, or is there something else you would focus on?
I think that is one thing that will hinder the business going forward, because we need to change that perception of getting the products in, but also as well, I think how the stores look as well. I think that has a lot to do with the experience of the customer, because at some point you're going to get the younger age coming in to our industry. They're already online. They use every single app going. They want to buy things the next day. If we can't facilitate that, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
So if we can, at that leisure shop, be the innovator of that, of get things in it, we've suddenly got a brand new wave of customers that we can take with us on that journey, and they experience a new way of living that kind of life.
But also the established audience are also getting online and using every app going. They're learning to do it too. So, my age and above, I'm a little bit older than you, only just. But there's a number of things we're doing, and our e-commerce manager, Ben, is working really hard in the background to get us online in all kinds of different places. And he's told us we're not allowed to talk about it, so we're not going to, or we'll be in trouble. But it is exciting how we are evolving the brand. And what's interesting is there's not much competition there. And I've always joked, you don't have to do a lot in this industry to innovate and be different, sadly, because I think there's a lot of complacency. And we've been mystery shopping, as you said, at the shops. And I was in a few yesterday, and they were fantastic. But I've been in some, and frankly, it just looks like a jumble sale. It's a car boot sale. It's just a chaos.
Yeah, I think that's a positive thing to say about them, because they are even worse than that.
But how is that acceptable? Why is that acceptable? What's caused that? Is that just complacency?
I think also as well, you have to embrace change. Change, if you change, will bring new things with it.
Yeah.
If you don't change, then you're happy with what you've got. You're happy with how things look.
Yes.
You're happy how things are, because you're not challenging yourself. So you have to change to bring change, but you've got to embrace change and not be scared of it. I know at some point I'm going to do something that isn't going to work.
Yeah.
However, I will try it.
Okay.
I don't mind failing, because if I fail, I will review what I've done, but also as well, I will make a note of what I've done and then change it for the next time. And it might take, with the shows, it might take 3 or 4 ways of doing something to get the best way of doing that.
Sure. And that's interesting, and that's exciting for me as the owner of the business, that we've got someone prepared to take that risk. Because often in any business environment of any size, people are afraid to do stuff wrong, so they won't try it. So what if it doesn't work? Yeah, but what if it does and it's brilliant? This could just be a different way of doing something. And I think there's always that case of checking in with the way we've always done it. And is it just we're doing that because that's the way we've always done it, or is it because that's the best way of trying to do it?
But I think you've got to bring people in who have done that always that way.
Yeah.
So I had a phone call meeting yesterday with 2 of the people of the show team.
Fliss and Andy, yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to both those in an hour and 20 minutes. I was on the phone to them because I want to know their knowledge. Knowledge you can't buy.
Yeah.
People have knowledge. So if I can use that knowledge and develop that knowledge and use the system and include them in decision making, at the end of the day, I've got to make a decision. But I can make an informed decision about what I'm doing by using yourself, using people at the show, even looking at other traders at shows. What are they doing? Because at one point, we're going to get it right. However, if we're at that point, we need to change, because everything moves.
Yes.
And we have to keep up with the curve, the trends, the trade. We have to keep up with that.
Which I think is something we're good at here, but you be the judge of that. Now, we are passionate here about customer service, and I always say that the relationship with the customer really starts at the point they make the purchase, not at the point they make the inquiry. Once they've made the purchase, often it's seen, well, that's it, they walk out, game over. For me, I want to have an ongoing relationship with that customer, and how can we evolve that relationship so we can sell to them again, and they can get even better service from us here. That's our passion here. Is there anything you can see in our industry where there is an opportunity to increase that?
I think it's the whole experience of when they pick up the phone. I would even start with a phone call. How do we treat them on the phone? Are we getting back to them? Are we delivering the results that they want? If we don't, be honest with them, but try and deliver what they need. When they're in the stores, that they're experiencing a lifestyle, it's an event for them. What's different about a leisure industry, the old industry I was in, you could walk out of a shop and you've got 20 other shops similar to me. A local place, there's a shopping mall up the road.
Yes.
You can walk out of there and there's 20 other retailers selling similar things. So if I don't get it right in that particular store, they can walk out and go to somewhere else and get their goods.
Yeah.
Normally within the leisure, it is a destination area. You drive, you choose to go to that shop. So if you choose to go to that shop and you don't get what you want, or you don't experience what you want, you will never go back to that place again. And that's what I think we can do, other dealers can do, and other outlets can do, is it's a destination. They are coming with their wallets hopefully open to purchase items in that store. So we have to keep them in the store, even if they buy one fuse. That one fuse might go to a bumper, to a top, to some other products. So suddenly, like you say, you get a return customer because they know they can get that item. They know they get that experience. And that's what is different between the retail sector and the leisure. Leisure is normally a destination area that you go to purchase.
Yeah, we are a destination business here. And our new store, which we're really excited about, which we're taking over today. So from here, we are hot-footing it straight down to Wellington at Chausson to start taking over the shop. And at the end of September, we have a big open weekend. So just looking ahead, Martin, in 12 months' time, what would you like to say you've achieved in this business?
There's a couple of things I would like to achieve. One, I want to be an innovator in the industry to change the perception of our industry, where we're going with the industry, because it takes one person to make a change and other people to follow to make a change.
Yes.
So can we make it a better experience? Can we help with the distributors and manufacturers to supply us better? There has to be conversations from one person to the masses, because then the masses will follow. I would like to do that.
Okay.
And obviously at that leisure shop, we are an innovator to that sector, and I would like us to be more active in that sector, so we can make changes with other dealers.
So an influencer within the niche.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think we've achieved that with the podcast.
Oh, 100%.
So the Motorhome Map brand is really powerful in the industry now, and we've built something we never intended to achieve, but that undoubtedly brings people into that leisure shop. That's why we launched the podcast, is to promote the shop. But they have to work hand in hand, don't they? They have to innovate and influence and be a positive for change.
Because it is, coming into this industry, do I call you Motorhome Matt or just Matt? Because I know you as Matt.
You can call me whatever you like.
But in here, do I call you Motorhome Matt? I don't know. But you are definitely an influencer in that sector, but we need to go hand in hand with all the other parts of the industry and our brand to move that forward.
And what excites you most about the road ahead then for this industry? So the bigger picture of our marketplace. I mean, it's a challenging landscape at the moment. Lots of our competitors have disappeared.
Yeah.
Some have sold up, some have given up. That creates an open landscape for us. I'm a firm believer in that. But what excites you most about the future?
It's that opportunity to grow that leisure shop brand into different retail space, any retail space. So it could be from a retailer who is giving up their space, we can go into there. It could be another section. It could be a campsite that we're there. I want us to be a household brand.
Yeah.
I've come from a household brand after 31 years. Being a house, I want that for that leisure shop, and I know I'll get there.
Amazing. I'm very excited to be a household brand. So quick fire, just to wrap up then, what are you most excited about for the year ahead here at that leisure shop?
Where we are at the moment, to move us up the exciting chain of events that we can get to.
Yeah.
So by the end, we are that household brand. I still believe we're going to be that household brand.
And do you think we can achieve that in a year?
We can get out there, why not? if people are closing, that means then the market isn't, so to speak, in there. We can take that space over.
Yeah.
My old retailer that I was in, that's what we did. We took space from other people to get the bigger market share.
Yeah.
And it's an easy format. It's a risky format, but it works.
I've quoted Bill Gates in the past, who said most people overestimate what you can achieve in 1 year, but hugely underestimate what you can achieve in 10. And we're only 4 years in here. And it is remarkable what we've achieved in terms of our online presence, where we're now springing up, and you'll see us appearing in other websites. News to come on that. But just quickly, what was the first product you bought here?
Well, I must say that I was told don't buy anything. But on my first, I was told don't buy nothing.
By the other half?
Correct.
Yeah, she knew that was never going to happen.
So I brought a light that is a speaker. I took it home.
Yes.
Played it, and I had 2 friends over. Next day, I brought 2 more.
These are beautiful orb lights. I forget what they're called. They're a Bluetooth speaker. Bocamp make them.
Yes.
They are stunning, aren't they? And what's been your biggest learning curve this far? A month in, what have you learned?
Definitely language. The language that we use. I'm used to knowing every single product.
Yeah.
So my learning curve is every day now knowing codes, what the product is, how to speak to the customer, because I didn't understand the product. But to me, a product's a product.
Yeah.
And I can learn that product. That's my biggest curve, is learning the language of this industry.
And what's your favourite product we sell?
The Pathway.
Okay, Pathway 4G, love it. And your dream motorhome destination?
I've got many. However, it has to include my wife, my 2 dogs, my 2 cats, and sometimes my horse.
Sometimes the horse.
Sometimes.
Okay. And where would that be?
Anywhere that they're included.
Okay, love it. Martin, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to get your insight. Welcome to the team. If you pop into one of our shops and you see Martin with his very impressive moustache and beard, then do say hello.
Thank you, Matt.
So that's Martin Ibson, the Commercial and Operations Manager at That Leisure Shop, otherwise known as Marty.
Actually, we call him Ibbo. So if you see him in the shop, come and say, hi, Ibbo. Yeah, he's thrown the gauntlet, that is for sure. We are on a big journey with That Leisure Shop, and Martin is very, very much invested in that and a big part of that. So I'm dead excited that he's part of the team, and we have a fantastic team taking this project forward. So do, if you're passing, pop in when you come and say hi. If you're like me and often working, browsing and using your data on the road, especially if using campsite Wi-Fi or random hotspots abroad, you'll want to listen up. I've been using NordVPN for a while now, and honestly, I wouldn't go without it. Whether I'm parked up in the van somewhere remote or grabbing signal in a service station, NordVPN gives me that extra layer of protection. It basically creates a secure tunnel for all your online traffic, so no one can snoop on what you're doing, not even on dodgy public Wi-Fi. But it's not just about security. Say you're in Spain, but you want to watch your favourite show back home. NordVPN lets you stream as if you're still in the UK. Dead handy that. It also has this clever feature called threat protection. It blocks pop-ups, trackers and dodgy websites before they even load. So everything's a bit quicker and cleaner too. And setup, well, it couldn't be easier. Just download the app, tap to connect, and it just runs quietly in the background. It works across your phone, your tablet, laptops, in fact, whatever you're using. So if you fancy giving it a go, head to nordvpn.com/motorhome and you'll get 4 extra months free when you take out the 2-year plan. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Honestly, it's one of those things you don't realise you need until something goes wrong. So get it sorted before your next trip. That link again, nordvpn.com/motorhome and get 4 months free when you take out the 2-year plan.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
It's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe. It's that time again. It feels like ages since I've done one of these. Oh, yes, it is, because you got somebody else in to do this last week, didn't you?
You won't let it go, will you?
It's the Q&A, the questions and answers, where Matt where Matt answers the questions and you ask them. And if he doesn't know, he'll ask somebody who does. First of all, Steve Edwards is in Kings Lynn.
We came to the Lincolnshire show and we're currently looking for a motorhome. we've had a bad experience. We bought an Elders Affinity 550 and it spent more time at Green Trees in Dereham than what it did having trips in the first 5 years. And the end result was it had to have a new front end because of damp. So we've had it repaired and we've moved on. We're looking at a Chausson. We was looking at the 610, 620, and I think we might be going for the 630 now with the 2 single beds. Also, we have been looking at the Benamar. Don't know if these motorhomes are any good to look for. Common sense prevails. I appreciate that. But the question I'd like to know is, and please be honest with me, I think you are. I sit here watching your podcast now. Are Chausson 610, 620, 630, 650, are they okay? Or are they like most other things? There was a company there what said Chausson and Benamar are the cheapest of the cheapest. My budget is 55k. If you could be kind enough to respond to my message, it would be very much appreciated. Many thanks, Stephen and Mandy from Kings Lynn.
So, Steve wants to know about his Shazam.
Chausson.
Chausson.
It gets called all sorts of things. It's a French brand. They are great layouts, the ones you're looking at, Steve, for sure. And they are lower in terms of spec levels, and more affordable. Let's not say cheaper. We've got 610. We've been running on our hire fleet for a couple of years now, and they're brilliant. If you see a brand on a motorhome hire fleet, it's going to be reliable or easy to fix. That's the key. And I want to give a shout out to a couple of great Chausson dealers who have helped us in the past. That's River Motorhomes and Elite Motorhomes. They are dealers for Chausson, and we take our Chausson motorhomes to them to be looked after. They are prone to some damp. I think anyone with a Chausson would agree with that. Sadly, a lot of them suffer with this. Often the windows aren't fixed in properly. So the first thing we do when we add one to our hire fleet, if it's new or second hand, is we remove all the windows and reseat them and reseal them. It sounds mad. It's just a manufacturing foible. It's annoying. Benamar are a lovely looking brand. I've never owned one. It's one of the few brands I've not owned. We've never had one on a hire fleet. I remember them launching into the UK. They came from Spain, and they were at the time exclusive to Marquis. Highbridge Caravans in Somerset now stock them as well. And I was really impressed. The designs were great, finish was good, and I reckon they would be good for hire. We've just never embraced the brand and never done it. Not to say I wouldn't, but again, a lower price point. But even both these brands, you're still looking at 60, 70k for a brand new one. Maybe you can get a deal on one. But I wouldn't say it's fair to say they are the cheapest of the cheapest. They're absolutely not. That implies they're rubbish. I would suspect that's a dealer selling a different brand, trying to talk you into what they are selling. But I'd suggest with a budget of 50, 55k, I would be looking at 3 years old. There's lots of brands to look at. Consider Roller Team, Etrusco. Look at service history. That's so important. Get a damp check done. And the great benefit of buying a pre-loved motorhome is all those foibles when they're new, and warranty issues have hopefully been sorted, and they can offer you great value.
You don't want to get caught by the foibles. So a budget about 50k. You mentioned the windows. So, I mean, you can knock them down a bit, can you, by $5,000 and just do the windows himself with some mastic for your bathroom, can't you?
You're not coming anywhere near any of our motorhomes here.
No. Is that a no?
It's a specialist job. So one of the issues with the 2019, 2020 Chausson motorhomes is the windows just weren't torqued up correctly. And what the manufacturer tightened up.
T-O-R-Q-U-E-D.
That's the one.
Yeah, not torqued. Yeah.
Not torqued up.
Yeah.
And one of the issues is that the window manufacturer created a frame that just clamped into the wall. It didn't need sealing, and this was deemed to be a huge benefit. No sealant, saves time, saves money, and they weren't tightened up properly, and thus they let water in, and water gets down inside the wall onto the floor, which is wood. And that's the issue. So we would remove all the windows and we'd reseat them with sealant and tighten them properly. That is something you need to get done professionally, I would suggest. It's not a huge job, it's not expensive. And the other thing to consider is reseal around all the outside at the bottom. You've got this trim that goes down sort of like a side bumper. There's never any sealant on it, and water runs down the side of that. into the floor. It's ridiculous. So we have resealed all of ours all the way around the perimeter. Cost about 120 quid. Worth doing.
But with a proper professional sealant, not just the stuff you buy in the DIY.
No, definitely not a B&Q supplied sealant. Other DIY stores are available.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
I beat you to it. Yeah. But you know what I mean. It's a professional mastic of sorts that often they never dry, so they remain pliable.
Yes.
So the motorhome can flex. But go and see a approved service centre that I'm sure would do this for you.
Next question from Anonymous. Aha. Getting our first motorhome soon. When insuring, they ask about modifications on the van. How do I know what is a modification by a previous owner or what comes as standard? Do I, for instance, tell them about the alloys, solar panels, for example? Well, we asked our friends at Ripe, didn't we, Matt?
Yep.
And they sent us a statement.
They did. They said, how exciting for you. We get so many questions about modifications, so I'm happy to help. With us, we just ask that you get any of your more dangerous bits, such as heating and electrics, done by a professional. Aside to that, we only want to know about any modifications that affect the performance of your van, braking or suspension in particular. But if you're unsure about anything, it's always worth asking the question if you know a modification has been made, even if it's just for your own peace of mind. Hope that helps. That was Mel from the team at Ripe.
And remember, you can get an exclusive 15% off your premium, which will apply automatically if you click the link in the episode description. Yeah. It's worth checking to see how much you could save.
Definitely. And Ripe are also giving away over £3,000 worth of prizes in their big summer giveaway. Prizes include an insurance policy with them for your van up to the value of £1,000, a £650 voucher from Glauning, a solo stove bundle worth £600, plus our very own Pathway 4G mobile router and a £150 voucher from That Leisure Shop.
To enter, all you need to do is go to mhmp.info/ripe summer and you could be one of the lucky winners. That's mhmp.info ripe summer.
The competition closes on the 14th of September, so be quick.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
We're in the Q&A. Mike Holland's in Honiton and sent a question. Hi, Matt. One observation I have not heard mentioned is that 3/4 of motorhomes of whatever price only have a single fog light. Consequently, when they go into Europe, it's on the wrong side because the steering wheel is. I'm not sure how many people think about this. I changed my reversing light to a fog light and added reversing lights. Secondly, which SIM do you recommend for Europe for your new Wi-Fi? Most unlimited data SIMs are limited when roaming in Europe. And Mike says, thanks in advance.
Well, okay, under the Vienna Convention, fog lights are accepted in Europe. So yeah, you're right. They are on... they're on the offside, where of course when you go onto the continent they're on the other side because we drive on the other side of the road. But changing your reversing light to a fog light is a great idea, but you should add reversing lights too. So that is a very helpful bit of advice, well done. But you don't need to worry about it. It's accepted on the continent. In terms of a SIM card, my recommendation is always buy one when you're there. There is a risk that you buy one in a huge supermarket and you take it out to the motorhome and you need an address to register it. So I remember once we were in Belgium, and this is in my talk when I give a talk about getting good Wi-Fi on the move. We were in Belgium and we needed a SIM card and we went to a corner shop and I reckon there was about 3,000 people living at this shop because the lady there said, use my address. So she gave us a piece of paper with her address on and we registered our SIM card at that address as if we were living there. So if you go to a big supermarket, the lady or gent on the checkout probably isn't going to want to give you their address to use. So my advice would be consider buying a data bundle when you're on the continent, maybe for the country you're in, and use that, and then there is no restriction on what you can use.
But can you buy that before you leave then from this country?
No, just buy it when you get there.
You buy it when you get there?
Yeah, they're in every corner shop, every supermarket, as they are here. So you go into a big supermarket and they're by the till, aren't they, all piled up?
And I presume Mike is talking about your Pathway 4G lick and stick.
The lick and stick, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And of course that takes any flavour of SIM card. So you may have to change what's called the APN settings in it. It's all in the instruction book. If you're stuck, just ring and one of the team will schedule a call with you and talk you through it.
Okay, then, Matt, how do people get in touch?
We would love it if you did. I always say, if you've got a question, I guarantee hundreds of other people thought that's a good question and wish I'd asked it. Head to mhmp.info/ask Matt. You can record it on the orange button, tell us where in the country you are or where in the world you are, or fill in the form and we'll read it for you.
If you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt Approved directory. It's at mhmp.info/approved. That's mhmp.info/approved.
And if you're listening, please click follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and the little bell.
So it's goodbye from me, Keith Gooden.
And goodbye from me, Motorhome Matt.
And goodbye from the fly, which has been buzzing around my head.
It's really annoying. It keeps landing on my face.